So, welcome to the 11th NPTEL session of Animal Physiology live session. So, I am Harsha. I am a PhD scholar in Department of Biological Science in ISER Berambur. I am also one of the TA to the course Animal Physiology. So, like 11 weeks already done. Now, only one more week left to finishing of the course. So, if you remember, we started with animal physiology's basic introduction, structural hierarchy, then followed by we started discussing with each organ system, integumentary system, followed by skeletal system, about skeletal muscle activity, sliding filament theory, then followed by how sliding filament theory, skeletal muscle is actively, coordinately working with neural system. Starting with neural system, we discussed structure of neuron. Sir taught us about structure of neuron, then going ahead with how the action potential is generated, how the action potential is transmitted, what are the different types of receptors, how again about contraction coupling system, all these things in the neural system. Then there are different types of neural disorders, Alzheimer's, Parkinson, all this we have seen. Not only like central nervous system, in both brain and spinal cord degenerative disorders we have seen, spinal cord injury, all these things discussed. Then following to the special senses in like how the vision, how the eyes are able to perform the function, ear, then about like small sessions about taste buds, everything. Then followed by neural system and special senses, we went ahead to the next system, which is the cardiovascular system, followed by we are now going to look into respiratory system, where cardiovascular system is coordinating and pure like impure and then hey, oxygen is going to fill due to the partial pressure difference, everything. So all these things are connected. That's why I again told in the order and was telling you how actively, like even in the introduction class, are uh, started the class by saying this, how we know our own body, how we know each system is making all the activity. When we go to a doctor, doctor says something, doctor says prescribe some medicine, we are like, okay, whatever we will eat. No, that is not the ideal approach. We should know at least about the basic things about each of our system, so that we know, okay, this is why we are doing these things. So that's why it's important to know the body, our own body, what is inside happening. So now we are going to check with the respiratory system. Okay. So week 11 was mainly about respiratory system. Let me share the screen. Yeah. So coming to week 11, again once more welcome. Uh, so as we said, now this week we will be Sir taught us about the respiratory system and the blood, especially about the blood. So in the lecture one, Sir talked mainly about respiratory physiology and followed by anatomy and physiology of blood vessel. That was in two lecture. First, he talked about it in lecture two, followed by in lecture three. Also, it was a continuation and talked about atherosclerosis also. In lecture 4 and 5, again, it was anatomy and physiology of blood vessels, continuation. Some terms specifically, what is the definition, why we are specifically saying all these things. So again, as we usually go, like we will go to the brief introduction or summary of each session. Then we'll discuss what is happening in each specific like what is the brief recap of each session. So respiratory physiology, first lecture in week 11 was mainly regarding the structure. There is a long trachea which is taking fresh air and taking it to the lungs, and trachea has this round cartilage around it. Then, as it reaches inside the lungs, we can see a lot of alveoli, where it's like the maximum increases the surface area, the structures around the lung. Then, how the air exchange is happening? It is due to the partial pressure difference. So, sir also drew, and like inside the alveolus, PO2 is 100 and PCO2 is 40. And if we are looking at the blood vessels around the alveolus, we can see PO2 is 40 only. So oxygen from alveolus will go to these vessels, and PCO2 is 45 here. So the waste PCO2 that is collected from different parts of the body will be supplied back to this alveoli, and that's how it will again go back to trachea, and through nostrils we releases the carbon dioxide, we takes in the oxygen. So that's how oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange is take pressure in alveoli or arteries. Now there was a activity question. Compare the respiration in avian versus mammalian species. There is a huge difference because we know avians or birds are designed for their flying. So if they have to fly, then their body has to be designed in such a way that it should enable their flying. So birds have the one of the most efficient respiratory system. That's why they are enabled to fly. Um, so the opening of the nostril that we have, that is called in birds as nares. Then birds have both the air sacs located in front and behind the lungs. But if you are looking into mammals, our air sacs are located inside or within the lung. So, and also we inhale and exhale once upon a time during a respiratory cycle, like once respiration. Yes, but the birds do the same thing twice for every respiration. So each for every respiration, they are doing this activity twice. Then mammalian respiratory system also include a pharynx and larynx. So this was about mainly respiratory physiology recap. Now looking into the next anatomy and physiology of blood vessel. Sir mainly talked about what is the main difference between arteries and veins. There is three layers covering it: tunica externa, interna, media. But in the arteries are always thicker than veins. Arteries are thickens and they have some additional layers also. Like additional layers means some extra covering. Then veins, but only have these three layers, but they doesn't have any additional, and this is much thinner than the arteries. Okay, so this veins will be often smooth, but these are usually thick. They have a thick wall. Now, while lymphatic vessels are present around capillaries, why? Because these arteries lead into the walls of deep lymphatic vessel, putting pressure upon them and helping them flow of the lymph. Because arteries are maintaining such a great pressure due to their nature, their high thick walls and all. So due to that pressure only, lymphatic system is always surrounding, and lymph fluids are also circulated due to that pressure. Then again followed by, if we are looking at the different size, elastic artery will be very much thicker, followed by muscular artery will be less thicker than the elastic artery. But again, these the layers are still present there: tunica externa, media, interna, everything. Same thing in the muscular also, followed by smooth muscle cell artery. Then this is covered by basement membranes and all. Then this will leads to small capillaries. So where veins and arteries exchange, oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange is happening. Then if you're looking at veins also, then the biggest is superior and inferior vena cava, followed by medium sized veins, then venules, then that also ending up in the capillaries. So then also we discussed about arteriosclerosis. As I told us about arteriosclerosis, where due to some deposition around these arteries, the walls again get thickened and the elastic nature will be affected. That condition is called as arteriosclerosis. Now followed by in the this is third or fourth, fourth. In the fourth week, we have looked at the definite specific term. For example, for what is blood circulation, and the blood flow is directly proportional to the pressure gradient, but inversely proportional to the resistance. And before that, sir also told about what is the resistance. So force is also proportional to BP, which is blood pressure, divided by inversely proportional to peripheral resistance also. Before that, he already told us what is the definition of all circulatory pressure, hydrostatic pressure, what is the peripheral resistance. Peripheral resistance is the total resistance that pushing the facing from the outside. Total peripheral resistance, what is turbulence and all. So this relation you should remember, because multiple question can be asked comparing like in a mathematical formulas. Remember, R or resistance is inversely proportional to 1 by 4th of the radius. So F is inversely proportional to resistance. So that means F is directly proportional to R raised to 4 also. Okay. Now he also draw us easily this graph like data, which told us about vessel diameter. So EA for elastic artery, muscular artery, artery capillary, venules, vein, vena cava. How the um, first one was area, cross section of area differs. So you can see here, area wise, area is maximum in capillaries, then it is decreasing. Then pressure wise, it follows the same pattern. So pressure and velocity follows the almost similar pattern. Vessel diameter is this one. Vessel diameter means the largest is vena cava, then vein, then capillaries, it is very less, and followed by there is increase. So remember, this is for vessel diameter, this is for cross section of area, third one pressure, and fourth one for velocity. Uh, Then about all these definition, that also please remember: vascular resistance, arterial pressure, venous pressure, what is blood flow. Blood flow is the volume of blood flowing per unit area through a vessel or a group of vessels. Blood pressure is the hydrostatic pressure of the arterial system that pushes blood through the capillaries. And then peripheral resistance is the total resistance of the arterial system, affected by such factors such as three factors is affecting peripheral resistance: vascular resistance, viscosity, and turbulence. Resistance is the force opposing the movement of the blood flow, because there are some particles inside. For example, our blood cell and all these are particles. So whenever there is some particles and in conditions such as it's increasing, so there will be a resistance. So total peripheral resistance is the total resistance of the entire cardiovascular system. Turbulence means a resistance due to irregular swirling movement of blood at high flow rate. So then about blood pressure is the hydrostatic pressure of the arterial system that pushes blood through capillary bed. Then circulatory pressure is the pressure difference between the base of the ascending aorta and entrance of the high arterial wall. Okay. So this I just again read through the all the definitions are told as in the fifth class of the lecture. Okay. Now let's go to questions, discuss it, and let's see what is happening. Which of the following is not a part of the respiratory system? Option A, trachea. Option B, larynx. Option C, pharynx. Option D, bronchi. Question is not a part of the respiratory system. So as usual, I will read the question. After reading the question, we'll wait for 1 minute or 1 minute 30 seconds. Then we'll discuss the answer. Okay. Which of the following is not a part of the respiratory system? Remember, not a part is important. So it's 6:17. At 6:18, we'll discuss the answer. Okay. These are very easy questions. So correct answer is trachea is a part. Remember, trachea is the part which takes the air from the part and making sure that it is reaching towards the bronchi or towards the lungs. Then lyrics. We if we suddenly see lyrics, the spelling of it's not larynx. If larynx was there, we could have said, but it's to make you confuse that its spelling is lyrics. So lyrics is not a part of respiratory system. So the part that is not a part of respiratory system is lyrics. Okay. Pharynx, yes, and bronchi is also part. So which is not a part of the respiratory system is option B. Okay. So remember, it is divided into two main part: upper respiratory tract, which consists of nose, nasal cavity, followed by pharynx. A lower respiratory tract consists of larynx, trachea, bronchi, and lungs. Next question. The trachea is mainly made up of option A cartilage, option B ligament, option C skeletal muscle, option D bone. Trachea is mainly made up of what? That is a question from the option. So now time is 6:19. At around 6:21 we'll discuss the answer. Hi Satish Kumar. So trachea is mainly made up of cartilages. You remember, right, sir, when drew the trachea structure? Let me open the pen. Hmm. If this is trachea, then there is like this kind of structures, which is called as C-shaped cartilage, right? So this cartilage will leads to my lungs is not the looking like lungs. Uh, Actually, it comes like a sac. So this is cartilage, right? So trachea is U-shaped structure that is composed of hyaline cartilage on the anterior and lateral walls with the trachealis smooth muscle forming the posterior border of the trachea. So what is the cartilage inside? Hyaline cartilage on anterior and lateral walls, and trachealis is the smooth muscle forming the posterior border of the trachea. Next question. Dash is also called as a windpipe and it branches into dash in the lungs. Option A trachea, bronchi. Option B bronchi, trachea. Option C larynx, pharynx. Option D pharynx, larynx. Dash is also called as windpipe and it branches into dash in the lungs is the question. Windpipe. 6:23. So at 6:24, after 6:24, we'll discuss the answer. 30 more seconds, then we'll discuss. So correct answer is trachea is called as windpipe. And trachea will reach and ending up in bronchi, which will branches into the lungs, right? So correct answer is option A. So it is a part trachea is a part of conducting airway system that begins immediately inferior to the larynx connected to the cricothyroid cartilage, which is at C6 level by the cricotracheal ligament, followed by series of 16 to 20 hyaline cartilage rings. Each is individually connected by an annular ligament and terminates at the carina, which is at C5 level posteriorly, sternal angle anteriorly. It then splits into the right and left main bronchi. So this we have like we're telling what are the correct positions. So trachea starting from the larynx and larynx is connected to cricothyroid cartilage, and if you're looking that is at C6 level and that is connected by cricothyroid ligament, cricotracheal ligament. Then there is followed by in the trachea we can see lot of C-shaped hyaline cartilage 16 to 20 in number. Uh, then each of these cartilage is connected by annular ligament and that all will end at carina, which is splitting into right bronchi and left bronchi, which is leading to the individual part of individual sacs of lungs. Cardiovascular system is a dash. Option A, open loop system. Option B, closed loop system. Option C, both A and B based on temperature of the body. Option D, none of the above. So it's about cardiovascular system. So even that system, like how it is it open loop, closed loop, or depending on temperature it changes, or none of the above. So 6:26 at 6:27 or 8 we'll discuss the answer. So correct answer is B, option B, closed loop system, right? Why it is closed loop? Because there is no loose end of cardiovascular system. Blood in the system does not leave. It starts at the heart, travels in the body, and comes back to the heart. Starting from one point and ending up in the same place through even closed blood vessels. So our system is closed cardiac cardiovascular system. Next question. Dash carry blood from the heart to the body and dash carry blood from the body back to the heart. Option A, both are arteries. Option B, first one is done by artery. Second one of part of the question is done by vein. C, first part of the question done by vein. Second part of the question done by arteries. D, both are veins. What is the correct answer? Which carries blood away from the heart and which carries blood from the body back to the heart? So time is now 6:28. At around 6:29 or 30, we'll discuss the answer. Correct answer is dash carry blood from the heart to the body. Heart to the body. So you remember aorta is the artery that is leaving from the heart. So arteries carry blood from the heart to the body and veins carry blood from the body back to the heart. Remember superior vena cava collect blood from upper part and inferior collect blood from lower part of the body and will give it in the heart. So arteries and veins. Correct answer is option B. Which of the following is not a layer or component of an artery? So read carefully about the spelling also sometimes. Option A tunica initia, option B tunica media, option C tunica externa, option D basement membrane. Not a component of an artery is the question. Not a component of an artery. So which of the following is not a component of artery? A is not a part of artery. We will think this is tunica interna, but it's look at the spelling. It is written initia, which is not a part, right? Interna spelling is different. So option A, tunica initia is not a part. Remaining are part of arteries. So remember the what are the three layers? Tunica externa, tunica media, and tunica interna. It's not initia. So correct answer is option A. So arteries are composed of different layers. First innermost layer of the artery is known as tunica intima. Second layer is known as tunica media or middle layer, and the last layer is outermost layer is known as, there are two names, tunica externa or tunica adventitia. In most blood vessel, basement membrane predominate and underlie the endothelial lining of vessel. So after endothelial lining of the vessel, the usually we can see basement membrane. There we can see pericytes and perivascular cells, and ensheath each individual smooth muscle cells of arteries and arterioles. Veins are dashed than arteries. Next question. Veins are dashed than arteries. Option A, more elastic and thicker. Option B, more elastic and thinner. Option C, less elastic and thicker. Option D, less elastic and thinner. It's about veins compared to arteries. Is it thicker or thinner, or what is the elasticity? So time is 6:33. At 6:34, at 6:35 we'll discuss the answer. Yeah, work. So veins are actually thinner than arteries, right? So in the thinner there is two options, less elastic and more elastic. So what about the elastic activity? It's less elastic also. So its elasticity also, arteries are more elastic than veins. So uh, veins are definitely less elastic as well as less thinner than the arteries. Why? Because arteries has two additional layers. There are three layers of tunica externa, media, interna. But if you compare the elasticity and even the thickness of these walls are lesser than compared to arteries. So venous pressure will be low, therefore, and then veins are thin-walled and are less elastic. This feature permits the veins to hold a very high percentage of the blood in circulation. So that's why, since they have lot of like space to permit like maximum amount of blood in them, because they are thin wall. But in the other case, arteries, in order to create maximum pressure, because they have to be thicker, because they have to accommodate maximum pressure, because heart is, it is directly taking the blood from the heart, and we know heart, like the cysteria, it is connected to maximum pressure is developing there. So in order to circulate it into all the parts of the body, arteries has to withstand a higher pressure. That's why it is thicker and highly elastic. But veins, in other case, it is giving, right? So it don't has to be as much as thicker as that of artery, so it's less elastic and less and thinner. At any given point, arteries hold dash veins, less blood than veins, same amount of blood as. Option C, more blood than. Option D, none of the above. Just now we discussed this, right? So what is the correct answer? It's 6:37. So at 6:39 we'll discuss the answer. So what is the correct answer? Arteries hold less amount of blood because the walls are thicker, right? So less blood than veins. Option A is the correct answer. Otherwise, venous system can accommodate a large volume of blood relative to arteries. So that system of venous system, that capacity of venous system is the ability of venous system is also called as capacitance. At any point in time, if we compare the volume of blood that can accommodate in vein versus artery, veins can accommodate nearly 3/4 of the circulating blood volume is contained in the venous system. So every time if we compare 3/4 will be in vein, only 1/4 will be in the rest of the vessels. Degradation in dash mostly leads to increase in dash with age. Option A, elastin, loss of elasticity. Option B, elastin, loss of, increase in stiffness. Option C, it's due to collagen. Degradation in collagen will leads to increase in elasticity. Option D, degradation in collagen leads to increase in stiffness with age. So what is the correct option? Option A, B or C or D. So it's 6:39 and chapter 6:40 we'll discuss. Degradation in dash mostly leads to increase in dash arteries with age. So correct answer is degradation in elastin leads to increase in stiffness with age. We know as we age or if we are looking at the elder people, their muscle, all the activities will be uh, like very slow because of their, like if they want to walk, they will walk slowly because their um, arteries and all become more stiff because it's made up of smooth muscle, right? So it become more stiff in as increasing with age. So that is due to the loss of elastin. So elastic fibers have an extremely low turnover rate in vivo, and this longevity allows for the accumulation of age-related changes caused by fragmentation and calcification and MMP degradation. As elastin fibers decay, they lose functionality and shift load bearing onto stiffer collagen fibrils, which directly contributes to significant increase in the arterial stiffness. So, what are the reasons? It can be due to fragmentation, calcification, deposition of calcium, and all, and degradation of the muscle layer, everything. So elastin decays and that will eventually shift to the stiffer collagen fibers, which direct contribute to the significant increases in arterial stiffness. The oxidation state of iron in hemoglobin is dash. Option A +1, option B +2, option C +3, option D +4. Hemoglobin, iron in hemoglobin, what is the oxidation state? My train is delayed for 14 hours. So I will call it. This is starting from here. That is already delayed. Will be from Yeshwanthpur only. Huh. I checked the average delay, so that's always like starting very late. I didn't know that. Huh. Now only the message came after 6. Huh. So what is the correct answer? So you know what is the hemoglobin, right? Hemoglobin is a globular protein composed of long chains of amino acids that are folded into compact shape. So it consists of 4 subunits, each containing a heme group. Heme group is located in the pocket within each subunit where it binds to oxygen. So it has 4 subunits. Each subunit has a heme group, and heme group is the part where it is getting bind with oxygen. So what is heme group? Heme group, inside the heme group, we can see iron and the porphyrin molecule. So porphyrin is again a planar ring structure with nitrogen atoms at the corners forming a coordination complex with iron in the center. So in the center, iron surrounded by porphyrin with a plain ring structure with 4 nitrogen atoms at the corners. So iron in the heme group can exist in different oxidation state. Usually it can exist in Fe2 plus and Fe3 plus. But if you asking about oxidation state of iron in hemoglobin, its oxygenated stage iron in hemoglobin exists in +2 oxidation state. And when oxygen binds to the iron atom, it forms a coordination bond resulting in the formation of oxyhemoglobin. So in oxyhemoglobin, what is the oxidation state? It is +2. So correct answer is option B. Okay. In this state, the iron is coordinated to oxygen molecules, stabilizing the oxygen and allowing it to be transported throughout the body. Oxygen binding and release. When hemoglobin comes into contact with oxygen in lungs, the iron in the heme group undergoes a change in oxidation state from Fe2 plus to Fe3 plus. So this will only happens when hemoglobin comes in contact with oxygen in the lungs. So that time it will iron will change a structural change, and that's why the oxidation state will goes to not structural change, oxidation state will change from Fe2 plus to Fe3 plus. This change in oxidation state facilitates the binding of oxygen to the iron atom, forming oxyhemoglobin. Oxyhemoglobin then travels through bloodstream, delivering oxygen to tissues and organs throughout the body. In the tissues, oxyhemoglobin releases oxygen and the iron atom returns to Fe2 plus in the oxidation state. So if you the question is about asking what is the oxidation state of hemoglobin, normally it is +2. This allows the iron to bind and release oxygen, enabling hemoglobin to perform its crucial role in oxygen in transport. Next question, at high vascular pressure, individual capillaries are dash and acquire dash cross-sectional area. Become narrow, smaller cross-sectional area, become narrow, larger cross-sectional area, become wide, smaller cross-sectional area, become wide, larger cross-sectional area. So it is about the what is it's about cross-sectional area, and at high vascular pressure, individual capillaries become wide or narrow? Remember the sir drew a chart comparison. So if you remember that, you can answer this easily. So 648 at 649 we'll answer discuss. So correct answer is, so it is about high vascular pressure. So let me go back and show the chart. So then we can. So the pressure is high and occur dark dash cross sectional areas. So this is the average blood pressure. So at high vascular pressure. So high pressure means high pressure is always it's about arteries, right? High pressure is in arteries. So at high vascular pressure, but the question is about capillaries. So these are the area of capillaries, this middle one. So the capillaries, cross-sectional area is very lower, right? So what is the correct answer? Correct answer is they will become wide, but 1 minute. Yeah, so if you remember, the cross-sectional area of capillaries is the maximum, right? So the cross-sectional area is becoming larger. So that option is B or D, right? And now it's about individual capillaries become narrow or become wide. So you see at the same spot, if you see it's becoming cross-sectional area is becoming increasing. That means it is becoming wider only. So correct answer is option D. While measuring blood pressure, 120 mm Hg is dash and 80 mm Hg is dash. Option A, both are systolic pressure. Option B, one is systolic pressure and second one is diastolic pressure. Option C, both. First one is diastolic and second one is systolic. Option D, both are diastolic. So what is the correct answer? So correct answer is 120 mmHg is a high pressure, right? High pressure means it's the systolic pressure. 80 mmHg is the diastolic pressure. So correct answer is option B, right? So systolic pressure happens, it's the maximum pressure during the contraction of ventricles, and diastolic pressure is the minimum pressure recorded just prior to the next contraction. So blood pressure is usually written as systolic pressure over diastolic. Which of the following relation is correct? Correct of, it's not flood, it is blood, okay? Blood flow in circulatory system is F is volume of blood flowing, B is velocity, and A is the vascular cross-sectional area. Option A, V is equal to FA. Option B, V is equal to A by F. Option C, V is equal to F by A. Option D, no relation can be established. What is the correct relation? If V is velocity, F is volume of blood flowing, and A is the cross-sectional area. So correct answer is C. V is equal to F by A. V is velocity, F is force over blood volume divided by cross-sectional area. V is equal to F by A. Remember, okay? Yeah. Otherwise, we can say F is equal to V into A. Velocity into area. Which of the following is not a vasoconstrictor? Option A, thromboxane. Option B, norepinephrine. Option C, alpha adrenergic agonist. Option D, beta adrenergic agonist. These are different group of drugs. Question is not a vasoconstrictor. So beta adrenergic agonist is not a vasoconstrictor. All others are vasoconstrictor. So what is vasoconstriction? It means if you are taking it, the blood vessels will get narrowed. Okay. Vessels resulting from the contraction of the muscular wall of the vessel, in particular the large arteries and small arteriole. This process is the opposite of vasodilation. So dilation means widening of the blood vessel. The process is particularly important in controlling hemorrhage and reducing the blood loss. Example include stimulants, amphetamines, and antihistamine. So the beta adrenergic agonist means they are comes under the class of vasodilator. If we are taking, that means blood vessel get widened. But alpha adrenergic agonist, norepinephrine, and thromboxane are vasoconstrictor, which means they have the power to make blood vessels narrow. Next question. The human body has different kinds of negative and positive feedback loops controlling physiological processes. Our body's respiration is under the control of pre-Botzinger complex, a cluster of neurons in brainstem. Here, a situation is described. Read the problem carefully and guess X. So we have to read the statement and guess what they are talking about. At low concentration, X is a respiratory stimulant. Still, when its effective partial pressure increases, X incites the general adaptation syndrome, and at great enough concentration, it will cause the collapse of the individual. When the inspired air at atmospheric pressure contains 3% X, the respiration becomes rapid and shallow with headache. At 6%, there is impairment of the efficiency and judgment with respiratory distress. At 9% and above, there is a loss of consciousness with Ensuming coma and death if prolonged. So what is this X? Which gas is X? So they are talking about at what percentage what happens in our body. So generally it is a stimulant, but if it's X incites the general adaptation syndrome when the partial pressure increases. So if it's more than very high concentration, then it will collapse the individual. That's why it's saying at 3%, rapid and the breath becomes rapid and shallow, and even we can get headache. And 6%, even it's inevitable, it will start affecting the neuronal system, and it will impair the efficiency and judgment process. And definitely respiratory distress will be there at 9% or above. Then complete consciousness, which can, if it's prolonged, which can leads to coma, and if it's again prolongs, it can even leads to death. So what is this gas? Oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, or water vapor? What is the correct answer? So correct answer is carbon dioxide. Okay, that's why if higher carbon dioxide is, it's like a poisoning effect. That's why it can affect the consciousness, or if it's again leads, death also can happen. Sweating, panting, and saliva spreading helps in dash. Option A, gaseous exchange. Option B, thermoregulation. Option C, autonomic activity. Option D, releasing fear. Go back to our first class, Introduction to Animal Physiology. We have discussed it there. What is sweating helps in? So correct answer is thermoregulation. Option B. Next question. Clot formation to stop blood loss on wounding by activation of clotting factories, an example of. Again, this we learned in the first class, clot formation. Option A, is it a negative feedback loop in the vicious form? Option B, negative feedback loop in a useful form. Option C, positive feedback loop in a vicious form. Option D, positive feedback loop in a useful form. So is it vicious or useful, and is it positive or negative feedback? So correct answer is clot formation is positive feedback loop, right? After getting the first signal, more and more things will come and it will get blood will get trapped. So that is positive feedback. It is stimulus is increasing the effect. So positive feedback loop in a useful form. Correct answer is option D. Next question. Lie detection is based on the assumption that when an individual experiences apprehension, fear, or emotional excitement, his or her option A, respiration rate increases. Option B, blood pressure increases. Option C, galvanic skin resistance sharply increases. So it's about lie detection test. So if the person is experiencing any kind of emotional excitement or fear, then his or her, what is happening there? That means if they are lying, what all things can happen. So it is detecting, is it about respiration rate, blood pressure, or galvanic skin resistance, or everything? So options are A is not true, B is not true, option C is C only true, option D, everything is true, A, B, and C. So everything is true about that. Okay. So answer D, A, B, and C are true. A polygraph, often incorrectly referred to as lie detector test, is a device or procedure that measures and records several physiological indicators such as blood pressure, pulse, respiration, and skin conductivity while a person is asked and answers a series of questions. Gas exchange happens at interface of alveoli and capillaries due to difference in dash of the gas. Option 1 color, option 2 pressure, option 3 temperature, option 4 contact angle. So why gas is getting exchanged at the surface of alveoli or anywhere? What is the reason behind it? Sir has beautifully drawn and told even the concentration. That's why it's able to come. Even in the introduction of the recap of the all the session also I mentioned about it. So correct answer is pressure. Difference in partial pressure, right? 2 is the correct answer. These are simple questions. Which of these has higher elasticity? Again, it's about elasticity. So remember which has the thickness higher. Arteries, option 2 veins, option 3 both have same elasticity, option 4 none of the above. So which has higher elasticity? Correct answer is arteries, right? Artery has thick walls and higher elasticity compared to veins. If blood is centrifuged, the yellowish liquid supernatant contains mostly dash. So if blood is centrifuging, even for almost of the experiment, we are taking that we first like centrifuge it, then we will take only that supernatant. So what is that supernatant called? Even the color they said it's yellowish liquid. So options are of option 1 red blood cell, option 2 white blood cell, option 3 plasma, option 4 platelets. So at 7, 8 we'll discuss the answer. Correct answer is plasma. Okay. Others are all what are settling down Nietzsche that are the cell components which consist of red blood cell, white blood cells and platelets. If the flow in a blood vessel is F and radius is doubled and the pressure is kept same, the flow would become option 1 F, option 2 2F, option 3 8F, option 4 16F. What will be the correct answer? It's basically to check whether you know the relation between flow rate and um, radius of the vessel where it travels to. So what is the correct answer? At 7:10, we'll discuss the answer. So correct answer is option 4. Okay, 16F. How it came, I will show. So you remember this relation? Yeah, here. F is equal to V into A and F is equal to pi into R square. So F is proportional to R square, right? And so I will take the pen and show. Huh. So F is proportional to R square. Now the question, F dash is equal to 2, F dash will be proportional to the new force will, because the radius is doubled now. So it will be proportional to 2R whole square, right? So F will be proportional to, oh, lost. So this is due to the which law? Poiseuille's law. Okay. Which state that blood flow is proportional to fourth power of the radius. This is usually F4 FR square. So this in the equation become 4 square R square, which means 4 square is equal to 16 R square, right? Which means 16 times the natural one. So that's why correct answer is option D. Okay. Hope everyone understood. Next question. Which of these has highest diameter? Aorta, capillaries, pulmonary artery. Again, it's about diameter. We already discussed. Remember that graphs are drew per centimeter square or diameter wise. What was the one? Sorry, I did a mistake. This is the 4, okay? I did. This was 2 only. When I said R raised to 4, but then when I written opposite. Right? So 16 R raised to 4. I will write again, that will be better. Yeah. F proportional Poisson is the law accordingly. F proportional to R raised to 4. Now the new F dash is equal to 2 R raised to 4. So 2 raised to 4 become 16. 16 R raised to 4. So R raised to 4 was F. So we can also write as F dash is equal to 16F. Yeah. Sorry for the lot of writings. Okay, correct answer is 4. Which of these has highest diameter was the question. So we remember that chart we have seen. I'll again go to the chart if you want. Here. So the vessel diameter, which has the highest diameter in the option. So correct answer among the option is iota, right? So correct answer is 1. Ideal diastolic blood pressure is. So it's about diastolic, not systolic. Diastolic is the pressure just before the contraction, not during the contraction. So it will be what range? Option 1, 10 to 20 mmHg. Option 2, 60 to 80 mmHg. Option 3, 120 to 140 mmHg. Option 4, 200 to 220 mmHg. So what is the correct answer? Correct answer is 60 to 80 mmHg. Usually 120 bar 80, 120 is for systolic and 80 is for diastolic. So you see the range. So 60 to 80 is the normal ideal range. Okay. Carbon monoxide poisoning happens because of its interaction with dash. Option 1 air, option 2 carbon dioxide, option 3 urethra, option 4 hemoglobin. So if carbon monoxide poisoning is a very dangerous one because dash has extra affinity for carbon monoxide even than oxygen. So if that is present, then it goes and highly bind with that particular thing, and that's why so person can easily die if the carbon monoxide poisoning occurs. So what is the higher affinity of carbon monoxide? Some component in blood has higher affinity to carbon monoxide. What is that component? So it's 790. At 720 we'll discuss the answer. Till then you can try figuring out what is the correct answer. So correct answer is definitely hemoglobin, right? Hemoglobin has the highest affinity of carbon monoxide. Blood vessels are mostly made up of dash muscle. Skeletal muscle, smooth muscle, cardiac muscle, or none of the above. What is the correct answer? Blood vessels are mostly made up of. Blood vessels are mostly made up of what? Correct answer is option 2, smooth muscles. The unit of hemoglobin quantification in a blood test report is option 1, cells per mcl, option 2, gram per deciliter or g per dl, option 3, both A and B, option 4, none of the above. So if you are going and checking a hemoglobin test from some clinical labs, then at what degree you can see the unit. Correct answer is gram per deciliter. Okay. And that also varies for men versus women. So that is about today's questions. You can also go and check with the week 10 solution is released today. So we can discuss that. Then we can wind up today's session. So we are only left with one last class of 12th, 12th week extra session. So that will be a wrap up of again some more details about blood, then other systems, renal system, kidney, endocrine system. So each class in next week is talking about each major system, and that will be winding up. Then also I will take one extra session to solve some of the major questions from all the 12th week lectures. That will be also after that will wind up. So then all the best for exams. Yeah. Let's see 10 week. So I hope you are every day checking all the assignment solutions also. So since I have till 9 minutes left, we can go through each question and discuss the solution of the last week since it's already released. Because this time there were like some like last week also I said before last week there were some errors which we discussed in the last week. So that's why we can check again. Which of the following is not a component of blood? White blood cell, plate cell, red blood cell, astrocytes. Definitely astrocyte is not a part, right? That is correct only. Why? Because we know blood is a fluid and it has mainly uh, four main components: plasma and the cells. And if we are dividing the cell again into three, then we can get red blood cell, white blood cell, and platelets. So due to that, they can perform multiple function, especially RBC mainly does transport of gases and providing nutrients to the lungs and tissues. And WBC mainly regarding with immunities and other function, platelets in blood clotting, etc. Next question, plasma is a component of dash. Blood, lymph, both blood and lymph, none of the above. Plasma is a component of blood, definitely, right? Today also we saw a question. What is the supernatant that comes in the pale yellow colored liquid portion of a blood if we do the centrifugation? That is also plasma, right? Next question. Vena cava is a dash that carries two dash. So vena cava is a vena cava. The name itself has the answer. Vein which carries deoxygenated blood from the body to the heart, which is also correct. Aorta is the main dash originating from dash. So aorta is the main artery originating from what you remember? Right atria, right ventricle, left atria, left ventricle. So aorta originate from left ventricle. Next, Purkinje fibers have dash and are dash than cardiomyocytes or myocardial cells. This also we saw Purkinje fibers have fewer myofibrils, right? And larger in size. compared to cardiomyocytes. Next question is, which of the following do not have T tubules? So that correct answer is Purkinje fibers. When last time when we discussed this question also, that time we said T tubule is absent in Purkinje fibers. Cardiomyocytes have T tubules. So which of the following is not a part of heart's conduction system? AS junction, AV node, SA node, bundle of his. We know starting with SA node, AV node is also part and bundle of his are also a part. But AS junction is not a part. So SA node stands for sinoatrial node, which is responsible for the pacemaker activity. AV for atrioventricular because it's due to its location where it is present. Bundle of His is again arterioventricular bundle. Which of the following in the heart's conduction system is the primary pacemaker and generate the initial electrical signal? This also we discussed just now. What is the correct answer? Is it AS junction, AV node, SA node or bundle of His? Correct answer is SA node or sinoatrial node. In EKG, QT wave signifies. So remember that slide presentation sir has told about all the intervals and what it does each depict. So QT wave usually depict electrical activity in the ventricle. QRS is the depolarization of the ventricle. So QT interval it usually determine the activity in the ventricle. A medication X generate QT wave of 200 milliseconds. So this also we said 200 millisecond. We have to compare what is the normal duration. That is around I think 320 something. So definitely 200 is less than that, which means they are making a shorter QT wave, right? Now 12th week session is also released. So please go back and check that also. Yeah, that's about today. Um, so exam is coming up. Please follow, listen to all the lectures and try to learn. And I think the questions will be a mixed type of subjective versus objective. So be ready. All the best for the exam. Okay, bye and see you in next Friday from 6 to 8.